just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot wings.
You stood outside Hillsborough with stocks having rotten fruit thrown in.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. Tonight, joining me, I've got Stevie, John, and Ash as we try to unpick the last 7 days that's happened at S6, and most importantly, talk about the football and the things that have happened since then, if we want to. Don't forget to press like and subscribe and join us in the masses of people that have joined us online recently. And I want to just do a big shout out to Alex, who I did the hello from the other side with last night, who is absolutely box office. He's a top guest, really good fella. If you don't get the chance to listen to it, enjoy it on your car journey. Stevie, how was your weekend apart from the football?
Stevie's not there.
Steve.
Oh,
He
just
disappeared. That's great radio, isn't it? Weekend apart from the football has been ever so slightly disappointing in terms of my child's footwear, but that's a story for another time. But yeah, it's football just seems to be depressing, doesn't it? In the minute, the whole sort of thing is just it's grinding me down, and you're gone from a point of looking forward to the weekend and sort of getting that time of having some sort of hope to just that blind sort of pessimism the moment something depressing happens at Hillsborough. It's just really, really sort of soul destroying at the minute, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. Tempered and mooted, Ash. You know what I mean? I had a bit of leg room, though.
tempered and mooted ash, or was that like a tempered and mooted ash? It was interesting, wasn't it? Yeah, good weekend, mate, for me. Apart from the football, yeah.
Everything's all right until the football happens.
Like Stevie says, it's what we live for the weekend. But when it comes around at 3 o'clock and at 5 o'clock, it's a killer. So at the moment, that is
apples and oranges, mate. My pre-match and post-match mood, I must admit. I bet you're the same, aren't you, John?
Yeah, it's like rest of you know, the football was what it was. And, you know, like yourself, Dan, follow another team here, and they did brilliantly as well. So, you know, at the moment...
It's been a difficult sporting weekend, hasn't it, mate?
Oh, I feel like a character from The Boys. It's just that every team I follow is dog shit. And it's just like, what am I doing? I was like, right, I'm not going to... I like college football. I refuse to follow a team because I'm not pulling them down with the rest of my clubs that I follow. Every team I follow is just rubbish. So it's just like, you know,
you're the Jonah.
I must be.
I'm going to put an AH after everything that you write with your name, that I write with your name on it now, John. The pre-match predictions, it's just going to have Jonah written on it. That's what it is. That's what it is. So the New England Patriots, who are trash nowadays, also beat the Miami Dolphins late last night, and who are also even more trash, apparently, if any of you follow your NFL. So that's fun. Joining man in the comments tonight will be Ash. So if you want to get your comments in, I've got them on auto show, Ash. So you're going to have to monitor that as well. Now, I'll warn you, it's a fucking nightmare. There's a lot going on. Now, John, before we get into the game, what were your pre-match thoughts? Did you feel like we could do something here? Bristol City have started relatively well, playoff semi-finalists last season. How did you feel?
Yeah, always weird with Bristol City because they always seem like too good to get involved in a relegation battle, but not quite good enough to get themselves in the mix for promotion. So like a happy sort of mid-table, you know, no drama kind of club. So on the face of it, under normal circumstances, you'd be feeling quite confident of getting a result based on those parameters. But obviously, with the side being what it is, and you know, still struggling for fitness, losing players, even the players that have come in lose. I was a little bit thinking that it might be a bit of a stretch to get a win, but I was kind of hopeful we might be able to hold them to a point. That was my thinking before kickoff. So yeah,
don't make me get receipts, John. I've got the pre-match predictions ready to go. If you want me to download
exactly,
it, did you go for a draw? Did you?
Did I go for a draw? I can't remember. If I went for a draw. I think I went for a. No, I think I went for a Bristol. I think I went for a Bristol win on the predictions. But as it got to like live match time, I was like, "Come on." Well, did I go 1-1?
You went 1-1.
Oh, right. I did go for a draw then. Yeah.
Very optimistic of you.
Yeah.
We've had Paul Robinson in the comments, and he normally digs us out every week, sort of saying that we don't have no faith in the team. And before we kick off, Paul, I'm like, yes, Paul, go on, pal. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're going to win the fucking league, man. Like, you know what I mean? And then the football actually starts. Ash, this is the lineup here. So we've got Horvath, Valerie, Otabeo, Iorfa, Lowe and Matt getting his debut. Palmer, Ingleson, Bannon, McNeil, and Ugbo. Lots to talk about there in terms of that lineup as well. But let's talk about Harry Hamas getting his start. I'm happy for him. I didn't personally think that role was if we had the opportunity to sign a player. I didn't think that role would be where we'd need backup the most, right?
Yeah, I think obviously being able to sign absolutely nobody right up until the lastminute.com.
You can.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking anyone, aren't you? You'd have took anyone. So obviously, got an emergency goalkeeper and then a left back, wing back type player. It wasn't. We are lacking in that department. But if you were going to say you can only sign one player in one position, probably that weren't going to be the one I'd have plot for. But I
plot for.
Plot for. Yeah,
Plot for.
He was, it's good for him to get started. He's always going to get a game in it, and I can see why some people are saying he's a youngster. We are developing someone else's youngster when we've seen Reece Johnson, wasn't it, who started against Leeds, and then he came on Saturday. Our own youngster, why not blood him rather than bring someone? But we'll talk about his performance. But yeah, I think it was good to see Hamas get a good start.
It was. Let's talk about his performance in the first 5 minutes, Stevie, before we get to the bad thing. I thought there was energy from him. There was something excited. There was a kid there who wanted to prove his worth, wasn't there?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'd echo everything that John and Ash have largely said in terms of it being nice that we had somebody else coming in, a little bit of fresh blood on a very, very much threadbare squad. But even from minute one, the moment he touched the ball, you could see that there was for a kid who's 18 years old, and let's give it a little bit of sort of context there. You can have that conversation that Ash has just talked about in terms of us developing another team's player. I don't think we can, beggars can't be choosers at the moment. We need bodies over the line, and I think it's a very fine line that you draw in terms of having him or having our lads in, week out, because they are young. But what I would say is, if you look at him, he's a similar age to Weaver. I'm not sure if he's a little bit younger than Johnson, but at 18 years old, it felt to me in the immediacy, he was dare I say it, and I mean this with the greatest respect to the kids that have been playing for us, he's a better 18-year-old than our 18-year-olds. And you can see why he's playing and been touted as a real talent and played in the Europa League and played in the Premier League for Manchester United. That quality is there. And yeah, all right, he's a left back stroke, left wing back. I have a sneaking suspicion that we might see him as time goes on in certain situations between now and Christmas, maybe moving into that midfield berth a little bit. We'll see where that goes. But for me, energy, touch. He was exciting. He was our most progressive player. Wanted to get forward. And the one thing that struck me was when he was playing, he hugged the touchline. He was very tight to the touchline. But in spite of that, there was a confidence. There was never any sort of doubt that he'd run out of space to go and play. And he was taking 2-3 players out with those runs and those moves that he was playing. He fitted right in. I thought he started the game really, really well.
Yeah, he did. I'm getting cooked in the comments, aren't I, Ashley? I've just caught a stray one there, haven't I? What's being said here?
You've caught a couple of stray ones. Stu Williams has gone, Dan with the humble brag, drinking from a Talk Sport mug he's borrowed from the studio. Go on, Fudgy lad. You've got a question here, Dan. You've got a question before you say. You've got James.
Is that James Revel again? Is that?
Has said, Dan, what are you doing Thursday about 5 o'clock?
I'm going to be borrow this mug that I'm drinking was Alan Brazil's, and I straight up robbed it, and I've washed it. Don't worry about that. I've stolen
I bet that never saw a cup of tea. I bet it was whiskey or beer.
I had to wash it, get the stench of turpentine out of it, and I'm going to be presenting the EFL Fan Network at TalkSport at 5 p.m. And James absolutely cooks me out every time I mention it. So brace yourself, James. It's going to be a long night. But listen, let's get into the first goal, John. As the striker's gone clean through, there was a sense of inevitability about it, wasn't there? It was at the far end of the pitch. We didn't get any goals at our end, did we? You know what I mean? And the first one, you kind of go, was that an OG? Was that an OG? Did that happen? And I was mortified for the kid. And my mum, she was devastated for him.
Yeah, he didn't deserve that, did he? You know, coming in, all the work done behind the scenes to get him through the door as well. As we found out as things came out afterwards, and makes his debut. Looks bright, as Stevie said. Started well, and then gets an OG registered against him, doesn't he? I'm not too sure if it's. It's just unfortunate. I do think as we'll come on to the other goals as well, and so I think we were really struggling down our right hand side in that game, weren't we? I think Iofa had a torrid time, didn't he? A torrid time, and I don't know if it's a product of Iofa just maybe losing half a yard, but not having better players around him. But I think we've seen it in other games as well. We're starting to struggle down that right hand side, and I think Henrik's got a job on his hands to try and come up with a solution for that. So inevitably that's where they crafted that goal from, and I'm just unfortunate for the young lad that he's in the wrong place and it's just caught him and gone in, hasn't it? And so early as well. Like they say, you always want to keep games tight for 20 minutes, don't you? And with our goal scoring record and our troubles to go down 1-0 after 5 minutes really kind of sets the tone, doesn't it?
After having something negative happen, it didn't kill a Massa's game, did it? You know what I mean? I still think he put a shift in. I still think he worked hard. One player who had something negative against him was Liam Palmer, who got a booking. And when I say it killed his game dead, it absolutely ruined him. I thought Palmer started bright. I thought, he had his head up. I feel like sometimes he's lost a bit of confidence when he's got the ball at his feet. But that booking that he got, which seemed rather innocuous compared to what the referee let slide for the rest of the game, I felt like that kind of murdered him a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I don't think it was a booking. I think it was very harsh. But given what some of the other things that the ref, I think, had to let go because of that early booking. I thought, but that's not how you're supposed to ref a game, obviously, or so I'm told. It's you take it, but then, it was. Yeah, he honestly after that booking, he wasn't in a game at all, was he? He should have been, and that's not probably his fault. Obviously, the type of him and Bannon in that midfield, obviously none of them have got legs, have they? And even Ingleson, who was in midfield, he's not the quickest and most mobile, is he? So I think it just killed his game, and he should have been. The problem is though, you hook him for Fazer, whoever, but we've got nothing else, have we? It's not his fault. It's not Pedersen's fault. We all know whose fault it is ultimately. But to get a booking that early, he's always going to be, and such a crap booking. So there's always that. I imagine Stevie's played more than me. In the back of your mind, if you're going to get a yellow card for something that's stupid, you're always going to have it that the second yellow card could be even in more stupid. So he's not going to be able to play the way they want to. But some of the passes he made, some of the decisions were awful. But that's probably just in his mindset that he was. So unfortunately, it was just not his day. But then he wasn't the only one. So it's
no.
There was senior players as well that were not at the game.
Yeah, there is an element of that. I don't blame Liam Palmer. I think, like I said, I think the booking murdered his game. But let's talk about the second goal, Stevie. once again, down that same side, our right-hand side, once again, Geezer's come inside. Emil Rees, I can't make my mind up about Horvath. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's bloody rubbish. But let's be honest. Yeah, he got nutmegged, but the defence just got... They parted like the Red Sea, didn't they?
Yeah, I agree with you with the Horvath stuff. I think he's got a lot of credit at the moment because of the Leeds performance. I'd argue that, and also because he's come in at the 11th hour, so to speak, and he's there now. He's doing us a favour. He's with us. I don't think, and I think this is a common theme across most rational Sheffield Wednesday fans, even players that are having poor games at the moment, and we can sit here and dig out 4 or 5, and inadvertently we're probably doing that as we're speaking. I agree with you about Palmer, by the way. That booking it did for him, but at the end of the day, we can't get after these lads in the sense that we've got to bin them off, or we've got to do this, that, and the other. They are either going to be good for us or they're going to be shit for us. And the defence for half an hour on Saturday was as poor as I've seen it in a hell of a long time. And it was really, really frustrating, really disappointing. And I'll stand corrected. It might have been you yesterday on TalkSport. Somebody was asking about, are the players... I didn't mean that the way it came out, by the way. You were on TalkSport yesterday morning, weren't you? Somebody made the point around our players being tired already, and it not necessarily being the same sort of energy that we had. It might have been Henry Winter, actually, your new friend.
Yeah.
They were talking about the Leicester performance and the Wrexham comeback, and then not necessarily being as much of an energy about the performances in the last 2 games against Swansea and Bristol City. I don't know if it's as much that or the fact that they're carrying the noose around the millstone that is the atmosphere at Hillsborough. And I suspect Saturday is going to be a little bit of a different sort of thing. And I know we're talking about the second goal, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but
not like you.
I know. I'm sorry. We've got another 45 minutes to fill. So but in terms of the defensive performance in that first half, it was like a knife through butter, and there was an inevitability about the second goal coming. It was just really, really frustrating. We've spoken about I don't think Otagbeo was much better, if at all, and it just sort of bled into the rest of the first half performance.
Normally, I'd sit here and talk about the outstanding performances that we had. We had some players who grafted, Amass being one, Spanty Ingleson being one, but there were a number of players who woefully underperformed. And Pedersen's got a job on his hands now, because I feel like we don't have the depth. We are threadbare at the minute, and we can't strengthen unless somebody does us a favour like Manchester United have done with Amass. But there were a couple of players on that pitch who beyond phoned it in. They were minus shit for me. Like when we were doing the man of the match conversation that we have after the game and stuff like that, it was very obvious how many underperformed. And one of them, John, Ike Ugbo, is fucking dreadful. Like I have run out of negative superlatives for the shit show that I had to endure watching him drag his ass around the 18-yard box. That was beyond an embarrassing performance. And it's not like me to sit on the fence. You know what I mean? But wow, that was a waste of a shirt. I'm surprised he got till half-time.
Yeah, like you were just saying, woeful performances by and when you say trying to pick 3 man of the match candidates like we do on our thing there, and literally like picking lottery numbers, weren't it? I had no clue. I was just like bang bang bang, just click 3, just whatever anybody else had put, because it were that difficult to pick out anyone who played well. But we offer 0 goal threat, don't we? And we've struggled with this anyway. But when you take away Masaba, Gassama, they have the assistant. They're not necessarily like mega goal scorers themselves, but a threat. We've got, and we get McNeil, he keeps drifting out wide, but we've got no wing play. There's no threat at all. And then and even if you do get something through, you've got Ugbo, who's just fell off a cliff since we signed him permanently, hasn't he? Had that great spell with us on loan, but it's like he's a different guy. He's just come back and he's got no confidence. He doesn't offer much threat at all. McNeil's a young lad that Henrik's spoken about before. As this is you've got a lot of responsibility now. You're getting game time. This is what you wanted. This is what you've been crying out for, and he's struggling as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
The thing sorry, Dan. The thing with Ugbo on Saturday was that they were lumping the ball up, and I don't think he even contested one ball in the air. Not one. So, I know. I said to my lad, I said, look, I don't mind like a long ball if it's like the last 5 minutes. You're getting up there. But we were playing it from the start, and we weren't even winning one header. Not one.
We weren't contesting a match. We weren't at the races at all. Barry Bannon was doing his absolute bouncing at Ugbo at one point during that first half. But TalkSport tonight strays aside. Ash, what else are we discussing? There was a great point there from one of the guys that I starred up. There was one from Matt Talbot. Now I want to address this because I feel like this is something that we should talk about. Matt Talbot's gone with, let's not forget the club is at an all-time low. We don't have replacements. This is us for the season. Blame them at the top, not the players. I don't disagree, right? That is 100% correct. That is genuinely right. But we've still got these players. And Stevie mentioned the point earlier on about the atmosphere at Hillsborough, which we'll get into after we've spoken about this game. But Ike Ugbo didn't give a flying toss about anything on that pitch. I can tolerate players giving it the beans and underperforming. I can. Like Otabeo was off the pace, but you could see he was giving it a go. But I believe that given the level that he's at, this might be a bit of a stretch too far, given the extended game time that he's getting. Do you know what I mean? But if I've got to sit and endure a half-assed performance that he put in on Saturday, he can fuck off. I'm done with him. And I know we've got this weird apathy where the players can't really come under too much scrutiny because of what's happening at the top of the club. I completely agree. I understand it. We can't have a pop at the manager. We can't have a pop at the players. But I tell you what, if Ike Ugbo don't give a shit, I don't give a shit about him, because that was genuinely awful. That was awful to watch. And I'm not sitting here making an example of one player because he has been shite for a year and a half now. When was his good period? When did we sign him? It was the start of last season, wasn't it? So he's been January of the other year.
Yeah.
So he's been shite for a year and a half. Been shite for a year and a half. Now, for the first few games, I can tolerate it. Confidence low, stuff like that. We've changed the way we play. We didn't have Jan Paveda and all the shit that comes with it. But that was a phoned-in bullshit performance. Put up or piss off, just like Adam Shaw. You know what I mean? Because that was. I can't deal with performances like that. I've got better things to do in my time than watch that shite. Sorry,
I felt the same about McNeil's performance as well, but with a little caveat of he was well out of position. Do you know what I mean? We know that's not in playing out that wide. He's not his position, but I just thought he was abject as well. So I mean, I'm not as scathing as you about Ugbo. I just thought, however they were playing or tried to play up to Ugbo, didn't work. Long balls. He does not want to challenge. So why even? And even when he do play to his feet, he's not the best on the floor like that, is he either? So I don't know what his way of playing is, but yeah, it's not. I agree with you, Dan. I mean, it's hard, but how long are the players going to get a pass? That's it. I know the situation we're in. I really do. But it's got to come down. And like you do, you single out. And maybe next week it might be somebody else. And then week after it might be someone else. But it's not just one player, is it, that's just having a bit of a rick. It's 5 or 6. And
it's application for me, Ash. There's a rick and there's a drop in form. That happens in football. But it was Ugbo's application. And that was... I'm genuinely angry about it. Like, how dare you do something that thousands of us would give our right arm to have the opportunity to do on money that we'll never see in our life, to sit and fuck about like he was on Saturday afternoon. I'm furious about his performance. Steve, you were going to add something?
Yeah, and Ash made the point about how long do they get a pass for. Unfortunately, it's the way we are, and just off the back of that. it's difficult to say that we've got to start digging these players out, and I understand and largely agree with what you're saying. The one caveat for balance purpose in the argument, and I am no sort of Ugbo sympathizer. We play a different style of football to what I think Danny Rule brought Ugbo in for in that period where he was a little bit more sort of successful in that. I agree with you. He's the kind of player that you play in the 18-yard box. He's on the end of things. His game isn't on the halfway line and running at people. He's your archetypal fox in the box. That's how he strikes me because, and I mean this with the greatest respect to a professional footballer, in the grand scheme of things, he isn't actually very good at anything else. And I know that, we're making him do lots and lots of things that are not necessarily in his wheelhouse. And people will come back at me now and say, well, he's not doing anything in the box either. But we aren't playing a style of football and a formation. We're not playing a lineup and a team that allows us to have that progressive, we're going to go and do bits in the final third. It's, can we hit people on the counter? Can we, catch people when they're unaware or not expecting us to have that moment where he gets that bit, that opportunity. The other thing I'd say is he didn't win anything, but I didn't fancy anybody to win anything. And we just look really, really small. We look second best. When they walk out, and obviously Ash has sat behind me a couple of years ago, they walk out and they line up in front of myself and my little one. And you can just see the physicality. You take Iorfa and Otagbeo out the side. We're a team of midgets compared to what was a much larger team. And they just look bigger, more physical, stronger in everything that they do. And it just, I think in the first half, there was a statistic that came up. We didn't win a single aerial duel anywhere on the park. They won absolutely every header in the first half. And that was us for the day. We just got to that point. We're lumping the ball up. Oh, it's just going to come back. We're trying to defend. We're not winning anything. We're second best all over the park. Ugbo is this week's marker for underperformance and fury, but it'll be somebody else next week. 100%.
I get that, but Kadmatri come on in his first two balls up there, he won headers. So do you know why? Because I know he didn't play, came back late from Jamaica into international, and so obviously he's going to be rested. But we still stuck with the punting the ball up, and he went for it, and he won. All right, then it didn't knock it down to a Wednesday player, but he showed more in his one header than Ugbo in 70 odd minutes for Ugbo, didn't he?
So what you're saying, sorry, mate, I was just going to say what you're saying there is everything that I largely agree with. Bailey Kadamatri is better at flicking the ball on than Ike Ugbo. He's going to win more in the air than Ike Ugbo.
I think he's talking about application again rather than the ability to do it. I think the desire is what I'm questioning Ugbo.
Again, please don't think I'm disagreeing with you. I'm not sticking up for the bloke. I meant there in the air, but on the back of that, at the moment, Kadamatri is a significantly better player than Ike Ugbo. However, he's gone out. He's had the success that he had last week in Jamaica. He's come back late. I think his plane was late back as well, wasn't it? In any other season, he'd have probably sat on the bench on Saturday and not even come on because we were managing him and resting him. Circumstances dictated that we had to put Kadamatri on because Ugbo and McNeil were that poor on Saturday. We had to make the changes. And Kadamatri was good. He got in our man of the match vote, and on merit as well, by the way. In that 45 minutes, he was better than 8 other players. However, there wasn't much else around it, was it? And when Bailey's winning his flick-ons, there's nobody running off him. So he's doing all that and he's toiling for nothing. Jamal Lowe weren't running off him. We weren't having people getting in front of him. He's winning flick-ons and chasing his own knots. It's just the way the game went.
You're listening to the TalkSport Fan Network, the Wednesday week. We'll be back after this.
Don't skip ahead, don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget when fun stops.
Welcome back. So Sheffield Wednesday then went 3-0 behind for Mehmeti, who also had a great game against Sheffield Wednesday, and putting us 3-0 down after half an hour. At this point, John, we probably thought it was going to be a cricket score, didn't we? I was expecting 6-0.
Yeah, and the worst thing about it is 24 hours prior, we'd seen them lot across the other side get tonked, and we're thinking, well, it doesn't matter what we do here, as long as we don't lose X amount, we'll still be we won't be rock bottom. And then, like as you say, it gets to 3-0 and it's still only the first half. You're starting to think, oh wait, we're going to get a right pace in here, I think, if we're not careful. Again, slackness on that right hand side. Ball comes over, he misjudges the flight of the ball, it drops to their player. He's got all the time in the world to control it. Did he nutmeg him again, or was it just he seemed like a very nutmeg like? Yeah, he nutmegged him again, didn't he? And it's like,
it was nutmeg like, yes,
nutmeg like, yeah.
I enjoy that.
I'm thinking this is it. We're gonna get blown out here now. This is it. And despite what they'll tell you on the graphic on the attendance, there was no way 20,000 people there. I'll tell you that much. No way. There was
not
more like 14. But it was looking bad. But whether it were a chat at half time to do a bit of damage limitation or whatever, thankfully it didn't go on to be that kind of match second half. But I dare say that Bristol City probably never got out of second gear, did they, in that game?
Not even the slightest. That was a very functional win for Bristol City. I'd be very happy if I was one of their fans sort of saying, we didn't get out of second gear and spanked him 3-0. Ashley, let's look at some comments. Matt Talbot's put in some absolute bangers. I've not caught any strays for 10 minutes, and I know that the EK Ugbo chat caught us a few, didn't it? Because I feel like a lot of people agree my sentiment.
Yeah, Joel Skellens put he can accept losing, but just to give 100%, which goes on the premise of what you were saying, Dan. James Revel, it's not bollocks though, Dan. Should have some personal and professional pride. He owes it to himself, the club, and the fans. How he made the grade, God knows. Seen better Imperial League players.
He's bob on. He was dreadful. And Stevie, I don't. This isn't me digging him out because he played shittest this week. He's been shit for ages, and it's about time we had this conversation. I tried to drag it in a few times last year. I kept out a countdown where I'd go, EK Ugbo's not scored in 11, 14, 22, 28. You know what I mean? And we never picked up on it. He's rubbish, and that's why he's had so many clubs. We caught him for a rich vein of form, and where's that player gone? Go on, Ash.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think quickly, he had that great vein of form. We needed someone up front. It was cheap-ish at the time. 2.5 million, is it? Everyone had took him, would they not, on that? Would you have took him after that 7 in 20 games or whatever it was? You would have, wouldn't you?
Look, that's a fair comment, right? That's a fair comment. He came in, we sat well, it was a good fit for the pair of us. But then it shone very early. At first, about 8 games of the following season, this has not worked out. And we've kept him now for 18 months. We've not looked at shipping him out on loan just to get his confidence back. I think someone's commented there, do we play him against Grimsby tomorrow night? I don't know. I'd love to be able to say, yeah, let's chuck him out. It's lower league opposition, all the rest of it, and he might get a run out, and he might get some confidence back. But given the way he chucked his toys out the prime mentally, fuck him.
The flip side to that conversation there, or that topic point there, is you look down the bench, and I like what I saw against Leeds of that George Brown. So. Is tomorrow a night where we say, right, we're going to play George Brown, we're going to see what he does, and is it an opportunity for him to maybe get a goal, get his confidence up, putting himself about against league opposition, and see if he's putting himself in the conversation. Kadamari is going to start. He is, he's our main striker now at the moment, isn't he? But if we're looking for a foil for him, does Brown become that person? Because he's been on the bench almost every week at the minute, and he's not seeming to get a look in even when things aren't going. Is there a reason for that? Is it something that we need to look at? Is tomorrow night the night for somebody like a George Brown to go and get a run out and see if we can get his confidence up?
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought Brown was great. Now, as we went into the second half, Ash, there was clearly a lot of things said to the team in terms of application. We made some changes. It was a significantly better performance, but I don't feel like Bristol City really tested us. And they were like, it's like their gaffer went, it's Struber, isn't it, or whatever his name is, went, listen, lads, these are shite. Just play the averages out, keep your fitness up. You know what I mean? They didn't really go for a killer instinct in that second half. And albeit was confidence building for us for that second half, that there was a change, but they didn't really tax us, did they? It was a sound beating.
it was probably two trains of thought. For one from the fans saying, "Go get 5, 6, 7," excuse me, and then one from the manager saying, "Just don't get injured, don't do anything stupid, no bookings, all that. Keep it tight, play it around, don't overstretch yourself." And that's what they did. And I think it was more of that. And it's horrible to say that. I think it was more of Bristol let us play like we did, and to get a bit of confidence for us, rather than Pedersen make wholesale change in the second half and the players come out going, actually, yeah, we're going to go for this. Because I don't think, unfortunately, at home, you don't want to say it, but that's how I felt. I just felt that Bristol City just took the foot off the gas and put it in cruise and did everything they can just to not risk anyone or not, make stupid mistakes and just see the game out. So the last 45 minutes out.
In it. I mean, it's tough knowing I've got to sit through that second half. We're 3-0 down after half an hour. You know what I mean? We've got players phoning it in and players shitting the bed, respectively. And I know that Pop World in Sheffield opens at 4 p.m. in Sheffield. You know what I mean? So I've got better shit to do. You know what I mean? Stevie, let's get into the statistics of the game here. You briefly mentioned them earlier. How we had 49% possession blows my mind. And I think it's palpable there when you look at that. When you look at those statistics, that they had 9 shots, we had 6. They had 4 on target, we had 0. It says a lot about us going forward, but it also says a lot about Bristol City taking their foot off the gas in the second half to manipulate those statistics in our favour somewhat.
Yeah, don't disagree. I think there were phases, even though we conceded 2 soft goals in the first half, there were points in that first half in between the first and second goal where I do actually think we responded. And I'll say that. And if people want to disagree with me, that's fine. And then the second goal went in and it just all went to shit. So there was a 10-15 minute period where we were marginally more competitive. But once the second and third goal had gone in, it was game over. I'm not suggesting for a second that we were going to come back into the game at 2-0 or anything like that. The second goal,
there was you see those crests and troughs of the 90 minute on a line chart. There was a good 5-minute period in each half where I felt like, we might be able to get something. But as soon as we got to the edge of the 18, it just fizzled out.
Nothing there. And I was just going to say there was nothing there. The touches inside the opposition box weren't there. We didn't threaten the goalkeeper. Those, I think, was it 4 shots on goal with none on target. Keeper's not broke a sweat. And to be fair, those shots were so poor. It was almost a surprise that we managed to get one off. In the mind getting anywhere near the goal because it just didn't look like we were going to, test anything. We were just poor in the final third.
There was one where Barry played a beautiful one out to our right-hand side. I think it was Valerie cut inside, and the ball just didn't go in the box. And then 2 minutes later, he had another opportunity where he thought, sod this, and tried to dribble it and end up blazing one over or something, didn't he? It was absolutely incredible.
There was the Dunderbird has just made this comment as well. I don't know if we can pop that one up. If anybody remembers where they flashed it in at the far stick and he's gone to stick it wide, and he seemed to have put it wider than from 2 yards out, was it? And it wouldn't have been far away from where you were sat, I don't imagine. But there was no surprise whatsoever. And there were 1 or 2 people around us going, it's coming in fast. I think my sister said, he's had some work to do there to try and get it on target. But to your point, does he not need to be ready? Is that not the situation?
That's his job. To brisk sound like Roy Keane, that's his job. There was no desire to get to that ball. And, oh, God, I'm going to say this. Michael Smith would have broke his ass to get to that because he was a big shithouse that wanted to score goals. Do you know what I mean? And Ike Ugbo couldn't be asked.
I think...
there was... Sorry, John, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think that second half just kind of resembled, when there's 2 teams at the end of the season and they both just need a point to stay up so they don't get relegated. It was just kind of like, we'll just knock it back. We offered no threat and it was just kind of casual. And I think a lot of times, like I said earlier, without that wing player that we don't have anymore, you often find Svante just pushing out to get to wing to try and make something happen. It covers so much ground, that lad, doesn't it, to be honest? But they were just no threat, were they? And like you say, Ugbo should be ready for something like that. But we just just bereft of quality, aren't we, in front of goal?
Absolutely.
I think the only highlight really for me of the game was we mentioned Hamas in the start, but I think that the link-up play between him and Ingleson on that left-hand side, some of the nice touches and round the player passes and things like that, I think actually that could be something that we look to hopefully build on, because I think he really looks like he likes to get forward, doesn't he? That Hamas really, really does. Even though it could be, I don't know what he's defensively. He looked all right. I know we've mentioned the OG. That's not his fault. He could do it. He was at least he was in the area defending, and it went in, because for the third goal,
he was busting a gut to get back. That's why he ended up in the position he was.
Yeah, for the third goal that went over McNeil's head, there was no sign of Valerie or anyone, was there? So he was there, but it was I think that highlight on the left hand side of him and Ingleson, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Got to say,
yeah, I think you're right. I'm rapidly starting to really enjoy Svante Ingleson as a player. When he gets his head down and shrugs the geezer off and marauds forward, there's something in there. I just wish there was more support around him. And again, it's just going to sound like an Ike Ugbo rant, but he gets there, he balloons forward, and there's geezers bouncing off him because he's a big, sexy, tall man. And and then what? And then what? You're going to pass it to Ike Ugbo, who can't smack an header in from literally a yard out. I'm going to get on another soapbox about it. Ash, let me talk to you about Pedersen's comments after the game. So he said it was a tough game again, and we gave ourselves a very difficult beginning with another set-piece goal. We come back in the game to have a set-piece after 80. Was he watching the same game as me? Set-piece?
Well, we had him. We just pumped him long, and we didn't. Bannon must have put about 6 in the box, and we didn't even challenge for the headers. So,
Not even slightly. It has been a sickness. The second game in a row where we concede a goal from there and we don't slide. We have to do better. It's not good enough. He's completely right. It is not good enough. And which brings me into the bit where I have to ask you to cover your ears once again. Hot topic! We're shit at set pieces, aren't we? Not really the hottest topic, but this is
stating the bloody obvious.
Yeah, this has been a long-running issue now for a couple of seasons. It was the same under Roll. It was the same under Chisco. You know what I mean? How long is this going to be an issue for? John, we had that much maligned set-piece coach. If I was for a bit, didn't we? If I was that shite at my job, I'd have got fired. What do we think it is? Is it a lack of depth? Now, we had a comment earlier on about Barry Bannon dropping deep again, which is what Barry does when he's got the mug on. Essentially, he wants to be the leader. He wants to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And then sometimes what he does is drop between the defenders and it ends up splitting the defense. And then we lose a bit of height. That's not the case on a set piece, though, is it? Come on, man. Like, John, what we're doing wrong? What is it specifically?
To be honest, it's been making my shit for about fucking 3 years this now. We get these set pieces and we absolutely crap at them. We can't defend them. We can't create them. We keep getting coach after coach. Oh, we're getting this set piece coach coming in. He's got a really good CV. First game, unmarked, back stick, 1-0 down. You're like, well, what would he been doing at Middlewood Road all week? You know, what's going on here? And it just does me head in. I don't know why we're so bad at set pieces. And why is he only like one player that's allowed to take a corner, usually Bannon. Yeah, I know he's a captain, but they should have maybe get 3 or 4 different takers and let them all have a different approach. Out swingers, in swingers, lofted balls, daisy cutters, but not the school of Potter where you just can't even just get it, beat your first man, or it just goes out of play. But I just think awful. I don't know what it is, Dan. It's so strange. I mean, somebody said in the comments that I don't know if they were tongue-in-cheek or actually genuine, because I don't actually know, but they said that the set-piece coach had come from Atkinson. I don't know if that was a joke, by the way, but it certainly seems like it, doesn't it? I mean, it's a fundamental part of the game at all levels, and to be that vulnerable on it is just asinine. It really is.
Well, this is it, Stevie, right? Go on, Ash.
I have something, just a quick one to admit. So in the second half, I think it was it second half? Yeah, we'll go the other way, won't we? Barry Bannon had a corner on the south stand side, and it hit the first man, and I screamed an obscenity. And I've been trying not to swear at the football, and I was caught up in the moment of screaming obscenity. And excuse the language I was going to use, but instead of saying dog shit or that was wank, I said dog wank. I shouted dog wank to Barry Bannon, and it was pretty embarrassing because it was quite quiet. And yeah,
was that you?
Did you hear that? It was quite loud. It was quite loud, and the poor geezer who sat in front of me, the couple of guys in front of me, he I don't think he took quite good to it. Yeah, but it was pretty loud. And, yeah.
Ash, as you know, my mum was there with me on Saturday.
I didn't.
Was sat there with the mug on, like, you know what I mean. I'm going, this is rubbish. And then when people get sweary and we're losing and stuff like that, I will, there's always one geezer stands up and just starts talking like he's got a direct pipeline into the players. You know what I mean? And somebody shouted C bombs. My mum goes, "Oh, really? It's the only need for this." It's my mum, right? You know what I mean? And then we were like, "Oh, he said fuck over there." And then we heard dog wank, and I went, "Dog wank, brilliant." And my mum started laughing. Was that you? Lovely. That is.
Well, apology to everyone. Cop.
Mate, what you want to do in your own time's entirely up to
you. Yeah, Stu's already been on with that one, hasn't he? So,
right. Listen, that was a terrible hot topic. But what I want to talk about, Stevie, and we all sit in the cop, and Stevie, you probably notice it more at the area where you stand because there's a bit more people in there. But I need to talk about the atmosphere at Hillsborough, because we've become apathetic is a word that the media keep using. Rob Staten keeps using it. I don't know if he knows what it means, but we are so wrapped up in Chancery going. We're so wrapped up in everything that's going on off the pitch. We have forgotten as fans how to cheer at a football game. We've forgotten. Not forgotten. It's just not part of our makeup anymore to go and cheer on the lads on the pitch. And the only thing you get from the band is if there's a crap refereeing decision, one of them just repeatedly bangs his drum, and that's it, right? I've just realised me doing this is going to be a gift by tomorrow. But it was just repeatedly smashed. Boop, 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 boop. That's all we got, and we're like, Christ. Like, one of the things that makes me laugh being a Sheffield Wednesday fan is when we sing Hi-Ho Silver Lining and we go, and it's Hi-Ho Sheffield Wednesday, and then silence. But you noticed it a lot more on Saturday. All right, albeit I know there's less people there and all the rest of it, but this thing that's going on, this cloud that's above us, has killed Hillsborough dead, hasn't it?
Yes. I think it has, and I think it's become something of a law of diminishing returns, if you like. Even in the first couple of games at Hillsborough this season have been louder than the last couple of games, if you like, in terms of the vocal sort of the noise that was being made. But I totally agree with you. You can go into last season as well. It's been something that's hanging over us for a while now. I actually think, and I maintain, that we will go away on Saturday. I was at Wrexham. We've been away a couple of times this season already, and the atmosphere at Wrexham was absolutely bang on. Can't fault it. Can't fault those people that are there. They make noise, they sing, they chant. At home, it's a different kettle of fish, and obviously it lends itself to having a different demographic of people that go. Are they a little less passionate potentially? Is there an apathy? Yes, there is. There's no getting away from that. But we just seem to be. It feels like we've had all the life sucked out of us. It feels like there's just nothing there anymore. I agree with you. Even the I don't care about Dapon seemed so half-hearted on Saturday. There were fewer people there, but it was shorter. It was quieter. There just wasn't there wasn't the passion there. There wasn't the vitriol that song, whether you agree with the sentiment or not. And I think everybody agrees, but the terminology that's used, it just doesn't. It didn't feel on Saturday like there was any sort of passion. I don't know how you get the players up there in a big sort of cauldron of a stadium we just seem like we're shouting into the ether at the moment. There's a minority that are doing it for a very, very short period of time. The one thing I would say is it was stark, and people will say, well, what did you expect? The number of people that walked on the third goal was frightening, absolutely frightening.
Like I said, football opens at 4 o'clock on a Saturday.
There you go, mate. We've sat through some shit. I looked at the T1. I sit obviously bang opposite. I looked at the T1 to the left there, and you could see the sea. You know, after 60 minutes, it was empty. Everybody had gone. There was nothing there. People walked en masse, and I think Alex Miller reported that you could see people walking over the bridge at towards half time and so forth. It wasn't great. I don't know how we come back from it, to be honest with you. We're not going to be there in what will be a competitive game tomorrow, I hope. But none of us are going to see it. And the next home game that we've got, we don't know where we're going to be. And the bigger issue is, unfortunately, them across the city have now got a manager in that's likely to, in the next sort of 2 games or so, get some points on the board. And who knows where that's going to leave us and what that's going to do to us as a fan base that have got a hell of a lot more shit coming in the next few weeks.
If you want to know more about what's happening over in the city, don't forget to tune in on TalkSport 2 at 5 p.m. We'll be talking to the Sheffield United way.
I'll tell you what, it's a good job we're good at our job to make him look so good he's got a second gig, isn't it? Hey?
I think just going to touch on what Stevie's just been saying there. I think what we're going through now, but bearing in mind this is only game 5, isn't it? Is going through the motions on game 5. That just normally when you're going through the motions, it's been a tough relegation battle with a really not underperforming, just a really low quality team. You think of the dark days under Irvine. Older viewers will remember the terrible teams from the early 70s, and they were going through the motions. We're going through the motions in game 5. There's still 41 games to go. Do you know what I mean?
Going through the motions is a good way of putting it, John.
And that's reflects how do you. Like Stevie says, how do you bring that back? Now, away from home, it's almost different because it's almost like they're the ultras because you're small. You go every week and you take around 3,000-4,000, and I guess it's almost a relief for them being away from Hillsborough because you're still supporting the team, but you're not surrounded by all the negativity and horrible sort of atmosphere or lack of atmosphere that you're seeing at Hillsborough. So. There's only one way we can pull it back, and now we just have to hope and pray that what we want actually does happen.
If you put Lewis's comment back up, Ash, Lewis Jordan's comment that you had on earlier on,
yeah.
I drove up from London and I drove back after the game, and I very rarely, sometimes I feel like, Christ, this buying a season ticket was a terrible idea / investment. But this time round, driving back Saturday night was genuinely, I remember thinking, is this worth the wear and tear on my car? Is it worth the petrol? You know what I mean? What we're going to do, just have a load of people stand there, shout vitriol at a stand that the chairman's not in. And I get it, it's symbolic. But we've completely forgotten why we go to the football because the state of affairs at Sheffield Wednesday is so bad. That's not me digging it out. It's just, it's just the way it is. But, going to Hillsborough literally feels like a chore. Walking out is depressing. I used to love that moment walking through that gap between the south stand and the Cop. I used to love looking at the grass and the sun comes through and all. Now I'm like, let's get out the road. Come on now. You know what I mean? Stevie, let's talk about post game down underneath the south stand. You probably walked through it, didn't you?
I walked by it. I came out Cop side. But yeah, it wasn't the protest that I expected it to be. And I want to preface what we're going to talk about. We aren't anti-protest here. We're not anti-trust. But, we're not saying anything there. What we are saying is what I am saying is that I was expecting there to be a hell of a lot more people than there were. And I know it's got some coverage on social media, and Alex covered it, and a couple of others have posted on sort of the journo sites. I would imagine that there were 2 things that I'll say. I get the vibe that one or two of people wanted to stay in the north and do the bin liner stuff. I don't know if that contributed to it. I might be wrong. But there were also a hell of a lot of people that probably would have stayed but disappeared about 4 o'clock because they'd had enough. And I might be wrong. Maybe there were an element of people who just decided that, right, enough's enough today. I'm going to go to Pop World, or I've got this to do. I've got that to do. I've got these places to be this weekend. And what I would say is, if there is a sort of an outer core of people that are wanting to protest but didn't, because they didn't want to sit through that second half, I'm not surprised, because that second half was tough. And I might catch a couple of pelters here for people if people turn around and go, no, I'm staying, I'm going to do it, whatever. Yeah. If people have decided they didn't want to stick around, I totally understand that. But there wasn't as many people under there as I thought there were going to be.
Is one of the issues that the people that are so vocal is that they've took the decision not to go to the game at all? You know, like the real people who are protesting because they bought the season ticket and they're not even going. There's going to be quite a few hundred, well, maybe thousands of them that are really saying, look, I'm not going to even go to Hillsborough. So they're not there, are they? So I think you've got the ones that are going to be really vocal and protesting and boycotting, and they are boycotting, and that's their fine. That's fantastic. That's their thing. You haven't got them, have you? You've got probably people that are there, but not as many as there would be.
Mate, you may very well be on the money, and with spitballing, maybe those people, there was an intention that people, when they put it out, weren't going to go to the game and go under after. I don't know the answer to that. The other thing I'd say is, and again, I'm not being anti-sentiment here. They were under there to say that they were going to protest against, and it was directed towards the director's box. There was nobody behind the director's box. We don't have any directors, and the person that we need to be aiming this vitriol at, and we do need to be aiming this vitriol at, this person is 1,000 miles away. And as we've been saying on TalkSport over the weekend, he's not spoken to us for the better part of 3-4 months, and we couldn't shut him up 6 months ago. He's the guy that needs to be listening. There's no sort of feedback that we're getting as to whether or not he's aware of what's going on. I'm sure he is, but he's not telling us how it's affecting him. And
I mean, let's be honest, Stevie. We did get a video of him sat on the south stand burning a leaflet of his own face. He knows full fucking well where what we're saying about him.
It was money. It was time money for a ritual, like a good luck thing, wasn't it? Not a bloody flyer of his face.
I thought he was burning one of the flyers.
No, it was money. It was a couple of years ago that as well. It was like a good luck tie ritual thing.
Well, we've stuck stickers now on the golden elephant, so he knows now.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, the people that have been more vocal, that weren't necessarily as vocal this weekend, that's their choice, that's their right. And I think it is important, and I will say this because it makes me sound like I'm some sort of sympathizer, and I'm not. I wholeheartedly support people's right to protest. I am anti-stop the game. I'm 100%. I don't see the point in going, those people that want to say, well, we're down anyway, let's get a point deduction. Let's not make matters worse for ourselves, but let's protest in the right way and make sure that our voice continues to be heard. I think that's important as well.
So we just had a comment from Matt Tolburn. I didn't realise this because my eyes are crap, so I can't see into doubt. But he says that Amadou Paxow is his advisor. He was in the director's box, so we should have been there until he came out. Well,
shit about him.
I did not see.
Well, he's the only face of the club, isn't he? He's the only one that everyone's, apart from Chansiri, so if they are under the South doing that, then fair enough. If he comes out and he walks into that, then
if he was sat in the box on the South where he normally sits, he's moved, because I didn't see him, and I make a point of having a look. I'm not saying that Matthew's wrong. He, you know, if he's seen it, he's got evidence it was there. That's absolutely fine. And if that's the case, and he wants to, you know, they want to get after him in the right way, then that's entirely up to them. But we need to keep this momentum going. We need to keep this sort of groundswell of keeping people aware that this isn't something that's going to go away, whatever happens in the next 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, because we know what's coming at the end of the month. We need to keep coming up with ideas, keep protesting, keep the visuals and the eyes of the journalists and the media, the national media on what's happening at Sheffield Wednesday. I 100% agree with that. 100%, I'm a proponent of that. But like I said, let's do it in the right way, and let's make sure that we try and do it with a unified front rather than doing it divided.
There's a lot of fans, and I think that to try and unify everybody in some kind of action is always going to be difficult. John, I keep seeing a lot of tweets about what we need to do is get on that pitch. Now, that's an odd tweet for me, because if you believe that getting on the pitch is important, off you pop. Go on then. You know what I mean? Don't sit there going, well, I'll go if you go. No, if honestly, if you're telling us to do it, you're that well in. Go on then, crack on. You know what I mean? We see a lot of that, don't we?
Yeah, we do, and let's not forget. I think one of the trust guys that Ian Bennett actually did say, don't run on the pitch and get, because it's a offence, isn't it? You can be arrested for that. So don't put yourself at risk for getting yourself into trouble with the law for something that. I appreciate we all love Sheffield Wednesday, but you've all got families. You've got to think about that as well. So I don't know. We've seen it. I think was it Charlton fans that ran onto the pitch once and got a game stopped?
Reading.
I'm not too sure, but I don't think was it Reading? Beg your pardon. Yeah, I'm not sure it'll achieve anything other than disrupting the game. I don't think it's not going to. Chancery is not going to suddenly think, right, I better start doing something now because they're running onto the pitch. I just don't think he will. Wherever he's tucked away, he's seemingly, invisible to us, isn't he? And from all we know, he's not bothered. I think the best way is like you're doing for those that are doing it, and that's to stop spending your money. Again, the kiosks were empty from what I could see. No one were queuing for beer, for pies, programs, nothing that I could see there. So that's got to hurt, hasn't it? And again, we've got no fans going for Grimsby. By all, not saying no fans, but a large majority won't be going. So people like that. They've always said people like that, the biggest way to hurt them is in the pocket, isn't it? And so do that. Don't get yourself arrested.
We had a comment, Ash, that you started, and I think it's a great comment there. Let's pick it up there. I think it's from John, isn't it? And I want to just mention this. I don't know if John Smith is his real name, but you know what I mean. This is a great talking point, Ash. Now, what's the right way? Genuine question. Right. Let me try and unpick that from my perspective, personally speaking. What's the right way? Stop going. I think the biggest test of Sheffield Wednesday fans' resolve on how serious they are in terms of protesting is to stop going to the game. And I will dig out an old TikTok, an old video from our show from November 2003 saying he perceives it as his club and he'll do what he wants with it. And as soon as we make it a non-profitable organisation, that's when he will do something. He'll pump money in, he'll make us more, or he'll sell it. Right? That the only time we're gonna make a difference is stop going. Us not buying a pie and a pint is probably saving him money right now. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but it's saving him money, especially given the amount of kiosks that were closed on Saturday. That was notable. And there'd have been a number of agency staff that didn't get a shift on Saturday. I'm afraid that's the uncomfortable truth, and that's how it is. Us not buying the shirts, that does make a difference. Stop buying the stuff in the club shop. Ash, you posted a picture of that banging tracky top. Oh God, I can't tell you how much I want it, but that will make a difference. Not buying that sort of stuff will make a difference. I'm afraid that the kiosk stuff is uncomfortable to talk about, and I know that it's a conversation for another day. What's the right way? Don't buy a ticket. Stop going. But it's so ingrained, and you've got even Rob Staton on air right now saying we're not a protesting club. We're not very good at it. And do you know why we're not very good at it? Because we're so loyal to our football club. We are some of the best sets of fans in the country because we're loyal to our club and we stick through it thick and thin. And to get those people to not go is very, very tough. Ash,
yeah,
am I wrong?
No. Bang on the money, Daniel, and you know that how much that'll hurt me saying that you're bang on the money, mate.
I must admit, I don't think you've ever said that.
I think
Go on.
I was just going to quickly say, Ashton, and back to yourself, it'll be a telling time when season ticket renewals, because they are fast approaching. If we go by the law of how they've gone in the past, they are fast approaching. So if we're still in this situation, if we've still got this crackpot of an owner, by the time it comes to season ticket renewals, I'll be fascinated to see how much they will drop in terms of people renewing. Fascinated.
Absolutely.
I agree with like what you said, Dan. There's a large percentage of Wednesday fans that have been Wednesday fans for longer than I've been alive, and even Simon alive. They're probably sat in the same spots as well, and probably gone children, grandchildren, and maybe even great grandchildren taking them now, and that is their life. That is people that have supported Wednesday through very thick and thin times, and for them not to go is a massive ask. Of course it is, but then again, it's like you don't want to boycott. You don't not want to go, because that is what you do. I said it. I think it was the other week on one of the show on our Q&A show about buying a season ticket next year and what's going to happen and things. It is going to be interesting, and I do think that the Trust have put out something tonight about they're gonna ask for everyone to boycott one league game, and then just pick a game. I don't know if they're going to say which game it is, and then just like have everybody not turn up. But you're not going to have that, because we've seen that these fans, and that this is their right. I am not calling that. There's 3,500 that have bought tickets for Grimsby tomorrow night, and that's an extra ticket than what they've already bought. So you are going to get an appetite from a lot of fans to boycott and not buy stuff on the ground. I've not bought anything all season. I've not bought no merch, everything like that. But I have gone to the game because that's my season ticket and that's it. But I haven't gone to as you all know, didn't go to the Leeds game, and I won't be going to the Grimsby game. I've got other things going on. But when you're going to have fans still buying tickets to a League Cup game, it's going to be hard to say, look, boycott a game you've already paid for, isn't it? Because they're going to go. And there's going to be people that have been for 729 games on a trot and don't want to lose that as well.
I've already paid for it. If I'm free, I'm going. Simple as that. I'm going to go and see my family. That's it. That's when I see him. If he's still in charge when my season ticket renewal comes up, I'm not going to get one. That's as simple as it gets. You know what I mean? That's
the good point you made, though, there, Dan, isn't it? It's not just going to watch Sheffield Wednesday. Is not just about the football, is it? That's the key message, and that's why it's hard for some not to do that. Because
John, I had to escort my mum at half time to a kiosk because she wanted a drink. She's in her 60s, right? I had to escort my mum to the kiosk to go and buy a bloody Bovril. You know what I mean? And I made a joke of it. I'm like, are you off scabbing, mum, or what? Come on now. You know what I mean? That type of thing. But I shouldn't have to do that. And we are obsessed with this. We get a lot of comments in about it. And I'm going to say something contentious on the internet, where we talk a lot about getting eyes on it, get it in the media. And without being facetious, I've been doing it myself, right? And I came home Sunday and went, what does that achieve? We're in the media. We've been in the media now for a long time. We've said no to nothing. Anything we've been asked to be on. I'm doing Paul Ross talking about it at 1 a.m. You know, I'm sat there talking about it in the media, and where's it got us? Absolutely fuck all there. Now, am I saying let's just stop it off and let's not do it? No, I'm not saying that. But we need to be realistic. And the realistic point of it is yes, we're in the media. Yes, we're talking about it, and that is a good thing. Is it a good thing in terms of putting pressure on DC? I'm not so sure, because I don't think he gives a shit. And there's already rumours that have come out and circulated today that he don't want to sell, that he's going to try and stick this out because he's getting money drip-fed from the league to bumble through. Now, yes, we're in the media. Yes, we're talking about it. But I don't know what else to say apart from big shrug.
The thing is, you're looking at everything that everyone's doing, all podcasts, all the Trust, all the supporters groups, fans, everything that they're doing, and you're right. For whatever little it looks like it, like Stevie mentioned about, he thought there might be more people on the South Stand, but like I said, local journals have videoed it, posted it, it's been picked up by other people. So there is that thing. But for all that's happening, and it's in the media, and it's been put in the Thai media, in stories in the newspaper, the only thing that comes across to me is, like you said, Dan, he doesn't give a shit. It comes across,
and I'm not saying give up because you don't give a shit. I need to make that point.
I agree on that. But you're right. They used to put a statement out for everything, didn't they? Everything and nothing. So the fans are thinking that because he's not saying things, if a thing's happening behind the scenes and he don't want to spoil that, is he concentrated on selling the club, or is he just blinkered and going, they can do whatever they want, I ain't bothered, I ain't selling, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, it's my club. And that's where you can't be, and that's where the fans are still doing. Let me
pick on a couple of comments here, Ash. That's a good point here. So Matt Talbot's gone with, didn't the league take all the money until he gets, or didn't the league take all the money he gets until he can show he paid the players? Sky money he didn't get. What he's getting the money drip feed in order to pay the players and the staff, which, as it stands, is pretty much, and the running costs of the police and all the rest of it. We're not buying any players, so that's all he's got to pay for, and he is getting the money to pay those people. So he's not getting any extra money. He's getting what he needs to keep the club going, which is wages, right, and running costs. And then the second one from Rob Shirley is the media coverage is putting pressure on the football authorities and politicians. It is. And Clive Betts is coming out and he's talking about it. And there's the football authorities, and I'm sick to death of talking about the regulator that's coming in. Everybody's very excited about the regulator, but it's still a privately owned business. We can put as much pressure on as we want. What we are doing by doing these protests and by being vocal about it is we're giving ourselves our dignity as football fans back, and the football fraternity has stood by us. Some of the away fans that we've endured and teams we've played against have been great for us because of this media attention we're getting, which is why I believe we should keep it up. But in terms of putting pressure on him, it's like he's got his fingers in his ears saying, la, 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 I'm not listening. Because he's very aware of what's going on. And if Pak Shaw's turning up and being at the games like what's rumoured, then he knows full well what's happening. But I still think he's going to try and cling on with his fingernails because there is money in this game. And we're paying top-end prices, and we have been for years. And there is some money going somewhere that we don't know where it's going. Even though DC keeps telling us he's not take a penny out of the club. I don't believe that for 1 second. I really don't. We had the 89-page document that the trust released out late on Thursday night. DC's skin, you know what I mean? It was interesting in terms of some of the businesses that have been set up in order to keep Sheffield Wednesday running, but they're all worthless trash. You know what I mean? I could go on forever, but I'm not saying stop the protests and stop the pressure. I'm saying we need to be realistic on how much pressure it puts on DC personally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense. The one thing I'd say off the back of that is we are going to get to a point where the money will run out, aren't we? Because the money's coming from TV.
It's March every year, right? It's March. It's happened the last 3-4 years. It's March every year. And then we'll start getting the headlines about we're not paying the players, we're not playing the staff like we have done the last 2 years. But by then we'll have already had, if we still follow the same pattern, we'd have already had the season ticket renewals. And I think a lot of people won't bother.
But that's the thing. That's exactly the point I'm making. That revenue stream will go. We will get relegated, which means the TV deal will go. So what's he clinging on for? Where is he? He needs our money to make this club sustainable. And it's that, like you just said, it's the fingers in your ears, la 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 moment. The money will run out if he doesn't do something in terms of.
And he will still be okay because he's from a rich family. He will still be fine. It won't affect him if our club goes to shit. It won't affect him personally.
No, but like exactly what Stevie said, though. It's untenable. The position's untenable. How can you cling on to? It's only one way he's going to go. The fans are never going to trust him again. The fans are never going to come back on side. He's never going to win the fans back in a million years. Not a chance. The relationship between the fans and him is dead. It's gone.
He could sign Messi and Ronaldo next week, and
there's
still
no
want him
coming
out.
back from this. So I don't know what he thinks he's doing by just clinging on, because he'll never win us back. We don't want him ever to be one more day in charge of our football club.
I agree. I agree. I hope I said that in a measured way, because that was a very contentious point, and I'm not. Please don't write me off as thinking that we shouldn't be doing this. I want to make very certain that we need to be aware of what some of the uncomfortable truths are of doing what we're doing, and it's a difficult road to go down, and there's a lot of people behind a lot of scenes doing a lot of work, and I think they're doing some great work. We need to be realistic about how far that's going to go. Should we stop? Absolutely not. I think we need to talk about the 7.5. We went on there for a bit. My apologies. There is a loan due at the end of the month. It's really, Billy's been on saying we won't be spending a penny in the ground. Appreciate your support, Billy. Thank you very much. And like I said, there's been some great support from some of the other fans that have visited Hillsborough and ones that we've gone to as well. We need to talk about this loan that's hanging over the club. Apparently, Chansiri has been cap in hand across people across the world, looking for people to loan him the best part of £7.5 million to pay off this loan. If he defaults on that, then the EFL will have more opportunity to put more sanctions on him as a chairman, but I still feel that the club and the fans will end up suffering as a result, which is where all this comes about. And then we are pinning our hopes on the regulator. Does anybody have anything to add on that difficult topic?
From a loan point of view, just to caveat what you said about the regulator, it's not just them; it's the company that owe the money. That he owes the money to, should I say?
Sorry, say that again. My apologies. I missed that. I got very carried away with a really good comment there that said he's hiding something in the books. That's why he's hanging on. I agree. I think I'll rumour mill jingle, the rumour mill. I feel that's the way it is. You don't want somebody lifting up the carpet. But go on, Stevie. Sorry, and again.
Yeah, totally agree with that. It's the company he's into the loan for will want that back, and they're going to have some sort of sway in terms of what they do in terms of next steps, given the time that we are and so forth. Again, that's probably a conversation for next week, maybe, or the week after it happens. But it's not just the EFL. We've got another sort of company that are in the background, sort of potentially in a situation to apply some pressure.
Appreciate you. Ashley, tell me what you're doing tomorrow night.
Oh, yes. Tomorrow night we are doing another live watch along. It went down pretty well, I think, last time against Leeds United. Maybe the result helped, but we're back tomorrow night from 7:30. Sheffield Wednesday versus Grimsby watch along with myself and Spendog. So we'll be here to guide you through all the goings on at Hillsborough in the League Cup. Third round, is it? Is it third round?
Oh, fucking hell. I don't
know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Could well be. Stevie, this is your bit very quickly.
Last man standing, who survived? Fantasy League keeps dreams alive. And when there's something shiny new, Stevie's first to see it through. So place your bets, come join the play. Our gambling man will lead the way.
I've got the tit on, to be honest with you, because Tipple's rubbish, EFL's rubbish, FPL's rubbish, so they can all get in the bin. What I will talk about is our last man.
Clip that.
Last man standing 6 was finally won this weekend. Going into this weekend, there was Ben Leonard, there was Chris Folks, who blocks everybody. And there was
nobody knows if Chris Folks is doing anything. Nobody can see.
Just so you know, Chris Folks is in our last man standing, and he's actually a really nice guy. And then there was Molly Spence in the final three. Chris went out early. I think he went out on West Brom, and Lenny went with Swindon, who were still drawing with about 15 minutes left.
Wyndon
rubbing her hands at 8 o'clock when Chelsea went to kick off against Brentford, and Chelsea shit the bed in the 93rd minute, which meant that our good friend Lenny did this and stuck that in the LMS chat, because he is now £1,000 richer off the back of winning our last man standing, which rolled over. For those of you that weren't aware, the last man standing rolled over. When it rolls over, players can come back in for another £10. So we take the 70%, we give that as a jackpot, And then the 30% becomes a bit of a fund for our community initiative and the web hosting. All of this stuff that you see visually here doesn't happen by accident. So we have to pay for that stuff. we have to pay for all of that. What that does mean is we are now in a situation where, as you can see on screen now, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, X, Facebook, and any other sort of online platform, we are launching Last Man Standing 7 on the 26th of September, which is not this weekend, it's a weekend after. It's £10 per entry. We've got all of the information on the graphics that we'll share incessantly over the next week or so. Get yourself involved. The community is great. There are loads of people that will be in the comments at the moment. If there's anybody that is in our Last Man Standing chat, if you just want to jump on and just let people know that aren't in the Last Man Standing what a good crack it is, that'd be much appreciated. You do get access to a WhatsApp group. You do get access to myself, Ash, not personally, where the guys at Day to Day sort of moderate the chat sort of thing. But Dan jumps in there every now and again with some TalkSport
only because I keep catching strays. I get tagged in something. I'm like, what the hell did that? What are you saying? Fuck me for? You know.
We also have Holly and Charlie that jump on as well. There's a couple of comments that have just dropped in. Matthew Talbot said he fancies joining. Matt Richards got a comment on the screen at the moment as well. We are open opportunity by all means. When you see the information, just get involved. You'll send your money through to the app. And once you've sent it, you've got a code with your phone number just in the comments. That adds you to the WhatsApp group, and then you can come and join all this nonsense on a day-to-day basis. It's great. We love it.
As Stevie says right now on the screen, if you are watching on YouTube, the QR code is there, and it will be on our socials this evening. Ash is frantically pressing buttons as we speak. He's not, but I'm going to pretend that we are. Ash, can you put that on our socials, please, brother? Thanks, man. Yeah. Listen, I hope we've covered some decent topics tonight, and I know we've had some contentious issues, and we've tried to be measured, and we've tried to be thought-provoking and things like that. But I do want to end on a somber note. I know we are a predominantly football-based podcast, it's predominantly about Sheffield Wednesday, but I do want to mention the sad passing of Ricky Hatton. I'm not a huge boxing guy. I like my boxing, but I'm not a huge boxing guy. Ash, I know you are. And I wanted to just shine a light on this a little bit and just sort of say, I feel like Ricky Hatton was a working class hero, you know, somebody who's come from humble beginnings and made good and became world champion. Ash, you met him, didn't you, at one point? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Ash met him in Vegas and stalked him across the strip for a couple of hours. So I wanted to just offer my thoughts and prayers is normally the phrase, but I'm not a religious man, so I just wanted to say I hope his family aren't suffering too much, and I hope Ricky's in a better place, because I know he struggled with his mental health, and I wanted to say well done, Rick, to what you did. You gave a lot of people hope, and there's a few boxers that I know would be looking up at you going, if it not been for Ricky Hatton and the work he did in terms of British boxing, in terms of Northerners boxing as well, that you paved the way for a lot of these lads. I don't believe there's any other business unless I've forgotten something.
I have one, or a couple even. Well, maybe one. Just that on Saturday was the first game for
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was the first game for donations for Pact and our shampoo and smelly stuff and flannels and toothpaste, all that good stuff. So, yeah, it was... I called in just before the game into the mega store, and it was looking pretty full already. I did not buy anything. I took a photo of a nice training top that I put on Twitter that I really do want, but I am not buying. One, it probably won't fit me, and two, I'm not paying 90 quid for it, you rob dogs. Yeah, so thank you very much for everyone who's donated already. You can donate at the store or at the Park Hotel or M's Barbers. So, yes, please, thank you very much. That's fantastic work that everyone's getting involved in. And
you said you had a couple of bits.
I forgot what the other one was, mate.
Shirt giveaway.
Oh, that's the badger. So, in true Sheffield Wednesday, the Wednesday week.
Well, we've been planning this for like a week. I can't believe you nearly forgot it, Ash. Look at this.
Look at this bad boy. Look, you've got to watch tomorrow night just for this. Look at this. Yep. the big budget. So that is going to come out tomorrow night. So you can win a couple of shirts. So we've got the black and gold that's had the Tom Burton, Mr. Meadows effect work on it. And he's going to do all the good stuff to it. And
Ash, have you forgotten the English language?
And even
you add all the good stuff, dude.
Don't worry, Jay. It's coming from your local Timu.
Fucking hell, Ash.
It's been a long day. What can I say? This is
we're giving away a shirt tomorrow night. We're giving away 2 shirts tomorrow night.
It's like that
And
scene
it's
from
from-
Anchorman where newsreader suddenly
Yeah.
can't speak properly.
Blah, 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 blah. And it's from China. But what we're going to do, we're going to make it look good, and we're going to give it the Tom Burton treatment. Colin Mr. Meadows on Instagram is going to give it the beans on toast, print it up, make it look all nice for you with every name. And I'm wearing a Tom Burton shirt tonight, and with the Premier League patches on there as well. We'll give it the full beans on toast for you. And Ash has got a fancy prop that's a big wheel.
That's what I said.
Check.
I said
I
exactly
can
them
guarantee
words.
you that was you
In
said
my head,
not.
they come out like that. It came out perfect England, and everyone who's in the
Perfect
comments and
England.
watching
Stop talking.
Right.
was perfect.
While these two are arguing, please make sure that you're checking our socials. There's the criteria for you to enter this draw. It's a free prize draw, no money involved. Just check our socials, get involved, and watching us tomorrow night, you could win an authentic Mr. Meadows. Where's he gone?
What's happened here?
I'm going to leave it right there.
Go. End. See you tomorrow night.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think anybody wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. Hey, pay your bills. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.